Welcome to Finishing My Basement, Episode 20, Rough Electrical. It is not my intent to teach you how to be an electrician. I am not certified. I am a homeowner, and in my area in which I live, we as homeowners are allowed to do our own electrical work. And having over 40 years plus in construction, I have learned a few things. But first, we all know how to do a Google search. Here is what I have found. According to Google, a 15-amp breaker can handle 10 duplex outlets, but recommends that only 80% should be used at any given time. The electricians I have worked with recommend installing only 8 duplex outlets for one circuit. That way, you should never overload your circuits. Wall outlets or duplexes are to be no greater than 6 feet away from an inside corner and no greater than 12 feet apart from each other. The height of a duplex box should measure about 16 inches from the floor to the top of the box. You should measure and match your existing duplexes in your home. Light switch boxes should be about 48.5 inches off of the floor. According to Google, a 15-amp breaker will handle 24 60-watt light bulbs. But again, it recommends that only 80% should be used at any given time. The electricians I've talked with, there should only be 15 60-watt light bulbs per 15-amp circuit. But I don't know the rules for nowadays that we have LED lighting. Talk to your local authorities. In calculating light bulbs per circuit, calculate 2 to 3 for bedroom lights, 4 for bathroom lights, 1 for a hall light, 5 for a dining room chandelier. I think you get the picture. Switches do not count. They just turn the power on and off. They don't spend any power. They just control it. In the past, I've seen lights and duplexes on the same circuit. If there is a child like I was doing something stupid, it could leave you completely in the dark. I recommend keeping lights and duplexes on separate circuits. A three-way switch. Power comes from the breaker to the three-way switch. The switch, well, all it does is connect and disconnect between the two traveler lines. If the lights are off, you can flip the switch and it connects from one traveler line to the other and turn the lights on. You can walk to the other side of the room where the other three-way switch is and flip the switch and disconnect the line from the power, and all it does is switch to the other traveler and turn the lights off. Now, someone else can come into the room to the first switch and flip it the opposite direction, and it will reconnect to the traveler with the power, and it will turn the lights on. It just changes the power in the traveler lines from one to the other, and that's all it does. Connects and reconnects, disconnects and reconnects. Here I'm running the Romex from the main panel to the first switch box. And using a Sharpie to mark it with the word power. This next line is for the wall's duplexes. I'm drilling additional holes for the needed wires. On this wall, I'm marking around 28 inches and drilling holes for the Romex. The drywall screw pattern is at the bottom, 12 inches up, and 24 and 36 and almost 48 inches. I try to keep the Romex and the screw patterns separated. The holes need to be drilled in the center of the studs. The Romex cannot be any closer to the edge of the stud than 1 1/4 inches. Here I'm running 14-3 with ground between the three-way light switch boxes at each end of the room. I mark each line with a Sharpie so that I do not get them confused. I run them one at a time. Once I get one in, I do the other. I ran the Romex leads from the second three-way light switch box up into the ceiling and over to the area where the lights will be, but I found that I had a camera failure and I will not be showing you that. I'm going to be installing some temporary pigtail lights for some 60-watt light bulbs so that I do not have to work in the dark. Along with the lights, I will be installing some switches. In this double switch box, I have two leads to the ceiling lights, a right and a left side of the room pattern. I cut and stripped the Romex shield off of the outside of these wires, and I'm very careful not to cut the wires themselves. It's very necessary to keep all these wires straight in your mind, so pay special attention to each wire, where it goes and where it comes from. I bend the black wires to the ceiling lights up and take all of the grounding wires and twist them together and using a crimp. I cut all of the other extending ground wires off except for two, which will ground the switches themselves. Now take all of the white wires, cut them to a standard length, strip the ends off of them, leave enough copper so that you can twist them together, then leaving about 5/8 of an inch of bare wire, cut off the remaining wire. Then secure them together with a wing nut cap. The more wires you have, the bigger the cap needs to be. Now the black line and the red line. I strip and temporarily connect the traveler black line to the lead to the ceiling. This will help aid in turning the lights on and off. I put a wire cap on the red line because it won't be doing anything at this point in the construction of this basement. And this I do for both of these switches in this box. These first wires on the right are for a three-way switch for the landing light at the bottom of the stairs. Now on the right side switches, as you cut the sleeves off, remember which wires go where. Like before, twist all the copper wires together, crimp them, and leave 2 leads for the grounding of the switches. Again, strip and twist all the white lines together and install a wire nut. Time to install the switches. I cut and stripped the black power wire. Take an additional length of black wire, cut it in half, strip the ends, twist them together with the power lead line, and secure with a wing nut cap. This provides 2 lines for the switches. Also the red and black travelers. I attach the ground wire to the switch and then install the remaining lines to the switch. Inside the boxes of most three-way switches is a diagram on how to install their switch. They will help you understand which wires go where. And according to my mind, there are 2 different types. So install one switch and then the other. The other wires in this box is on a different circuit and will be controlling a different light. Now, the most hazardous part is wiring up the lead into the main panel and setting the breaker. It's best if you find the main disconnect for the power in your house and turn it off. But before you do that, make sure you tell your wife and kids that they will be out of power for a time. But before you turn off the main power, make sure that you have a battery-operated light source so you can see what you're doing. Now, knock out a pre-punched hole in your panel box and insert the wire, making sure that you have a protective choker to keep that from wearing into the box and grounding itself out. Strip the Romex off of the end of the wire, making sure that you have enough wire to run to the different grounding and neutral bars in your panel, and also enough wire to connect the breaker to. Connect the ground wire, then strip the end and connect the white wire, and then strip the end of the black and connect it to your breaker. Push the breaker into place, turn your main power back on, and then turn the breaker on. Remember that you do not want to touch anything that will kill you, so make sure your power is turned off. Now that that is complete, you can go back to your switches that you have installed and make sure that they work. Perfect. On and off. On and off. I hope this video has been informative. I hope you have success on all of your endeavors. I would like to thank you for watching, and please come back again and see as I continue to finish my basement. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.